Hey, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Now we are in chapter 3, bioenergetics, and we're going to start, as always, with vocabulary. So let's break down the word bioenergetics. First part, bio, life, and then energetics. It means exactly what it sounds like, energy. So life, energy, bioenergetics. That's what we're going to be talking about. So let's jump into the vocabulary dealing with life's energy. And we got about 13 words. So buckle up. Our first word is electromagnetic energy. As always, we're going to have some keystone-based definitions. So let's go through those, and then I will reword them for you so you understand a bit better, hopefully. So electromagnetic energy is energy from the sun that is composed of waves. Example, radio waves, UV rays, visible light. Okay, let's simplify that. The energy from the sun. Boom, that's it. Everything else is just explanation, description. Okay, so electromagnetic energy is energy from the sun. And yes, it is composed of waves. So if you look down here, we have the different kinds of energy coming off the sun. And down here, you'll see the shape of a wave. As we know, you probably remember this from physical science, light moves in waves. It moves in an up and down motion. Right? It goes from point A to point B. Follow my mouse. See my mouse moving around? Right? It goes from point A to point B, but it does it in this up and down motion. And that up and down motion, creating the waves, is what's going to tell us what kind of energy it is, and it will behave differently. What we really care about, though, is right here, the visible light spectrum. Yes, your eyes are only able to see certain wavelengths. Oh, that's a weird word, wavelength. Right? Think back to physical science. Look at this wave, the top of this wave, and then it goes back down, and then another top of the wave. The distance from top to top, they're called crests. From crest to crest, that's a wavelength. Shortening that wavelength will change it into a different energy. Lengthening it, increasing that wavelength, will change it into a different frequency. What we care about is the wavelengths of visible light, and different wavelengths are going to make different colors. As it gets really close together, it becomes more blue. As it gets further apart, it becomes more red. If it gets too close together, and it starts to get blue into violet, and it gets too close, it becomes ultraviolet, which we can't see but does have an effect. Ultraviolet radiation is what gives you a sunburn. It gets even closer, X-rays, which can go right through your skin and bounce off your bones. But it can also give you cancer as it's going through you. And then gamma rays are even more powerful. That high energy is just going to burn you. Like, we're talking radioactive burns. And then further away, now it goes from green, yellow, orange, red, and then it gets so far apart, your brain cannot see it anymore. Your eyes can't pick it up anymore. It's called infrared. And we do have cameras that can do that for us. And then any further, microwave, we can cook with it. Radio waves, so you've heard of these. But we are focusing on this area because that is the energy that plants are going to be turning into usable energy for us. 2, chemical energy. The energy involved in a chemical reaction. That's nice and easy definition. What we mean by that, take a look at this picture. This is the sun, so this is solar energy. This leaf of this plant is going to store this energy, use this energy in a chemical reaction. Right? Over here, we got carbon dioxide, which is what plants breathe. We have water, which is what plants drink. And this energy is going to be used to fuel a chemical reaction that puts these two things together. That's why plants need sunlight. It's going to take this carbon dioxide and this water and rearrange all the atoms. And what you're going to get, carbon, look at my mouse, carbon and water. What did I say in the last set of notes? Carbohydrate. That's what you're making, carbohydrates. And then you're also left with dioxide, means 2 oxygens. You're left extra oxygen we didn't use, so there it is, it comes out. And plants exhale, I say with quotation marks, they don't actually exhale, but they release oxygen out into the world for us to breathe. And they have these carbohydrates as food. It is food that has this chemical energy. This solar energy became chemical energy. And then we eat that food, and then we get the chemical energy, and we get to live. Now, I threw this picture in too because it's kind of cool. A lot of plants become fossilized. They become oil. That happens over the course of about 65 million years under very high pressure, but they become oil, and then that oil still has the energy inside. So we turn that into gasoline or rocket fuel, and we use that energy. This all came from plants, and the plants got it from the sun. So you can argue that this is technically solar powered. It's not directly, but you can argue it. Metabolism, a set of chemical reactions through which an organism builds up or breaks down materials as it carries out life processes. What that means is using the chemical energy. Right? Metabolism is us using the chemical energy. You eat food, you break the food open, you get the energy. And then you use that energy. That's your metabolism. And no, it's not all food, right? It's every chemical reaction in your body, but food is a major part of it. Also, your metabolism is about building molecules. You're growing, so you need more molecules. If you exercise, you're building muscle, so you need more molecules. So building those molecules are part of your metabolism too. Energy transformation. This is what this chapter is really all about. Turning energy from one kind into another, or in your official definition, a process in which energy changes from one form to another form while some energy is lost in the environment. Now, let's break that down. The process in which energy changes. Boom, leave it at that. Right? That's your understanding. Everything else is detail. Right? Energy changes. The rule in science, the rule in nature is that you cannot destroy energy. It's impossible. So instead of destroying the energy, you're going to turn it into something else. Just like before, the leaves turned solar energy into chemical energy. Here's happening now. Here's the sun. Here's the leaves that are on top of the carrot. The solar energy is becoming chemical energy in the carrot. And then that's food. Down here, we eat food. In this case, it's a different food, but we eat food and we turn that chemical energy into usable energy. The official word is mechanical for movement. Right? We use the energy to live. Or like with the rocket ship, or in this case, a car, those leaves became oil, and then we turn that into gas, and we use that to power our cars. Or electrical into thermal, which is electricity into heat. We change energy. That's what your body does. That's what your metabolism is. We are taking this chemical energy right here and turning it into energy we use here. That's this whole chapter's whole main thing. In those chemical reactions, we're going to have two basic kinds. Number 5 and 6 go together here. Catabolic reactions and anabolic reactions. Catabolic reactions are reactions that release energy as molecules are broken down, right? So here is a big molecule. That we call that a macromolecule, carbohydrate, I guess. And we are going to break it into the monomers. When you break it down, all that chemical energy that's stored in here comes out. So catabolic, you break it to release energy. Think fireworks, right? You are destroying something to get an explosion of energy, right? So catabolic, think kaboom, catabolic kaboom, catabolic reactions. Anabolic is the exact opposite. We are going to use energy to synthesize molecules. We talked about this word, synthesize means to make. So we are going to make molecules. We've got all these monomers, and it's going to require energy to put them together. Right? It's hard to put monomers together to make a polymer. So that takes energy. So we eat energy, we eat carbohydrates, break it down to get our energy, catabolic reaction, and then we're going to use that energy to turn different food particles into your body parts, anabolic reactions. 7 and 8 also go together, adenosine diphosphate and adenosine triphosphate, two very important things. Before we get into the big definitions, let's break it down easy. This is a battery, but it's a dead battery. Look at that battery, low charge. See, diphosphate, dead battery. And then down here, fully charged battery, adenosine triphosphate. These are molecules that are already in your body. No, you're not eating them. They're already there. And they're rechargeable batteries. This is when it's dead, and this is when it's charged. So let's look at the official definition. Adenosine diphosphate, we are calling ADP. A nucleotide, which we've already talked about nucleotides, used to make up your nucleic acids, your DNA, RNA. We're also using them here. A nucleotide made of adenine, ribose, and 2 phosphates. 2 I highlighted because that's important. So adenosine and ribose together, that's adenosine. And then 2 phosphates, diphosphate. Di means 2. This is produced by removing 1 phosphate from ATP down here. So there should be a third one. And we had a catabolic reaction where we ripped it off and then energy came out. We used that energy and now we're stuck with a dead battery. We're going to recharge it later. Adenosine triphosphate. Remember, tri means 3. So we have our adenosine, adenine, ribose, adenosine, and 3 phosphates. And the energy that we want to live off of is in this bond. We're going to rip this phosphate off to get that energy. So your official definition, a molecule that provides energy for cellular reactions and processes, which is released when one of its high energy bonds is broken to release a phosphate. That's your ATP. Make that simple again. 3 phosphates. And our life energy, our bioenergy is in here. It's our chemical energy we need. We rip the phosphate off, we get the energy, and now we are missing a phosphate, diphosphate. We're going to recharge that later and make it ATP again. So how are we going to do that? That's the big question. How are we going to recharge an ADP into an ATP so that we can survive? That is really hard. And it's a big, long process, and it doesn't even start in your body. Right? This starts in the plants. That's right, guys. We need plants to live. Duh. So we're going to start this with a process that we call photosynthesis, a process in which solar energy is captured by chlorophyll and stored in a carbohydrate. Oh, wait, we had a new word here. Chlorophyll. You ever heard that word before, chlorophyll? Right. Chlorophyll is the green stuff inside of the leaves. Why green? Well, it turns out, I'm backtracking to number 1 here. Turns out of this visible spectrum, green happens to do the best job at capturing sunlight. You ever wear like a black shirt outside in the sun and the shirt just gets hotter and hotter and hotter? That's why you don't wear black out in the summer. Well, turns out black doesn't happen in nature, but green does a very good job. So photosynthesis, we're going to use chlorophyll to capture sunlight and use that energy to make a carbohydrate. Right. 10, plastid. Plastids are a group of organelles that we have actually already talked about. We talked about the mitochondria in chapter 1. We did not really cover plants in chapter 1 though, plant cells. They have a different plastid. A plastid is a group of membrane-bound organelles responsible for the synthesis and storage of food. So mitochondria, for us, we are going to be breaking that food down for energy. Plants are doing the opposite with their chloroplasts. That's a plastid. They are going to gather the energy and gather these molecules and put them all together to make the food. So chloroplast number 11 is a type of plastid. So chloroplast, the organelle where photosynthesis occurs. Right. Chloroplast is a plastid that is taking in all the solar energy inside. It's taking the carbon dioxide, it's going to take the water, it's going to put them all together, and a carbohydrate will come out. The plant wants that carbohydrate. It wants to eat that carbohydrate in its mitochondria. But we are going to be selfish and we are going to eat the plant so that we can get that carbohydrate. So yay, plants. 12, cellular respiration. This is what we do. This is what the mitochondria does. It's the exact opposite of photosynthesis. The process where chemical energy in food molecules is released and stored in the bonds of ATP molecules. Right. Make that simpler again. Remember I just said a little bit ago, ADP becomes ATP. We put energy in there and add a phosphate. That's cellular respiration in a nutshell. Right? It's actually a big, long process. Don't worry, we're not going to go into those great details. But long story short is cellular respiration is we are going to take a carbohydrate, break it to get energy out, and put that energy into the ADP to turn it into ATP. Yes, that was the short version. That is what your body does. You eat food, you breathe oxygen, you get energy. Mitochondrion, an organelle found in most eukaryotic cells where cellular respiration takes place. Right? That is a plastid found in your cells. Right? Where you eat the carbohydrate, those carbs go in here. You breathe oxygen. The oxygen goes in here. This thing uses them for a chemical reaction and boom, catabolic reaction. Energy comes out and now you can survive. And that is your last vocab word. All right. Be sure to check on Google Classroom to see if I left any work for you. And until then, I will see you in the next video.